readers,
reviewers,
countrymen,
lend us your ears. And a huge thank you to all of our Patreons.
Thank you to the Pit Fighters, the First Swords, and all of the Bright Stars, Truth and Courage.
Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about our very favourite reads of 2024 so far. Oh, sounded good. We could be singers, Ed. We are harmonising there.
Could be the Weasleys.
This is our... Oh, don't say that. People have called us
You
that
must
before.
be the Weasleys. Hand-me-down robes.
Great impression there,
Thank
Ed.
you. Scared Potter.
You wish. It's interesting how
He
you
does-
go straight for the Draco Malfoy character. Do you feel
It's
some
someone
resemblance?
who I resonate with.
Yeah, you resonate with them. Anyway, we're talking about our fifth favourite read
Chosen one.
to the first. Anyway, we're talking about our fifth to first favourite read of 2024 thus far. We have a video talking about our 6th to 10th, and yeah, that was put up a week or so ago, I imagine, anyway, because I can't look into
If
the
William's
future.
done his editing, as
Maybe
he
a little
promised,
bit off schedule, but
I
anyway.
think he promised he'll do the editing quick for these videos.
I pinky promise I'll try.
No,
I'll try.
Not acceptable.
I'll try. But anyway, Ed, do you want to not kick it off, start it off?
I'm going to hold up the book.
Or you've been talking to me about this a lot and I cannot wait to read it.
And this is number 5.
Number 5.
So I've been buzzing to read this for a long, long time. And the author kindly sent both of us book 1.
He did indeed.
And it is A Drowned Kingdom by P.L. Stewart. This is the first book of... I actually can't remember it's called The Drowned Kingdom Saga, I believe. And it is fantastic. This is the perfect concoction of Janny Wirtz meets Christian Cameron in terms of the writing style as well as the content as well. Now, P.L. Stewart, I think he would always say that his favourite author is Janny Wirtz, and I can really, really see the resemblance, the similarities how he has, picked up influences from Janny Wirtz's writing after I read To Ride Hell's Chasm. But A Drowned Kingdom takes fantasy in a whole new direction. Now, it follows the second prince of essentially Atlantis, so a kingdom that has been drowned, and he is trying to raise his people up from essentially the ashes and bring them back to glory. They used to be the most powerful people in the world, and now they are crumbled into the ocean. But it is fantastic. We follow the main character and he is a bit of a prig, and he is very interesting to read because he's very flawed, very grey, but he thinks he is right all the time, and that's always fun to read. The humour is here, the world building is fantastic. I think the world building, the first few chapters, it was quite heavy because it had to paint the scene, but I really like the way that PL did it, and I really, really personally enjoyed that style. And then as the book progressed more, it went more and more dialogue and action heavy, which it felt like it was building up the tension really, really well, and it went hand in hand with the climax, and then it ended on a cliffhanger. Not too many books nowadays are ending on cliffhangers. I find they kind of wrap themselves up, but this book, there is a cliffhanger in A Drowned Kingdom, and it was absolutely fantastic. I love the way that PL writes. I'm certainly going to carry on this series, and I believe the book 5 or book 4 is coming out this year.
Will you be picking up book 2 soon?
Absolutely.
Very nice, Ed. So that is your 5th favourite read of the year so far. And my 5th favourite is Egil's Saga. And so, clues in the name, it's a saga. This is...
It is Easter, so egg.
Egg. Yeah. Just like your initials, Edward Gwynn. Your signet ring actually says egg on it, doesn't it?
I don't wear it anymore.
Because it says egg, yeah. Especially on Easter, you just get too many jokes.
When I send a letter and I put it in the, what do you call it? The wax.
Stamp. Oh,
the wax seal. It said egg, so...
It's not the greatest... Well, mine's is... I don't know. Anyway, WG. So, yeah. We don't really have great initials, really, do we? Although a G is a very solid letter, I do
Yeah,
find.
it looks nice. Cursive, it looks good.
Nice. But anyway, number 5 for me, Egil's Saga. So this is, we do not know quite who the author was. It was written around a millennium ago, and it is a family saga about a family who come into conflict with the kings of Norway. And this is, the most central figure is Egil, and he is an anti-hero. You're rooting for him, but he can be a bit of a lunatic sometimes. He's got a very short fuse. I think at 8 years old, he kills a child who makes him bleed.
Yeah, with an axe.
Yeah, but the scariest part is how he walks away grabs the axe and just slowly walks up to this
Yeah.
kid and then kills him. And then his mum is like, "You shall be a great reader one day." And I'm glad we don't live in that society because it would be carnage.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, just as a child, I just start attacking you and
Well,
I'm not
I don't
stopped.
have to imagine you did it I've got many scars on my back because you used to, try and
But afterwards,
shank me from behind.
but after Mama and Papa Gwyn didn't say, "Oh, he shall be a great reader."
No, they said he's going to be crazy.
Anyway, so Egil's Saga really took me by surprise. The sagas and kind of the epic poems of old have this, I don't know why they've got this reputation for being very difficult to
No,
kind of
I think
engage
they're really
with, but
charming and funny.
They are, and they're so accessible as
Yeah.
well. I really think that it's so many texts that people could dive in and really enjoy straight away. This is where so much inspiration for current authors has stemmed from, and I really think that they need to be opened up, and that myth needs to be thrown away for the myth it is. So I really highly recommend diving into Egil's Saga.
And I find the focus on these stories is so far apart from typical Western mythology, and typical Western, folk tales. Because these stories are really, folk tales, aren't they, of the people of that period.
Yeah.
But they're just so funny. There is a vein of humour that runs through them, whether we just find them
It is
funny.
dark humour,
because-
yeah.
Yeah, they're quite dark, but it is really. I think I find them really, really charming.
And I also really enjoy that they follow a character. It's not a streamlined narrative, so you don't really know what's going to happen yet. You're following a character through their life. So sometimes the kind of peaks and the lows are at different points than you would expect in books with the normal kind of 5-point narrative we have now. And so I found that really refreshing as well. But that is my 5th favourite read of 2024 thus far.
Very nice. And now March was the month of Dune for me, anyway.
Maybe before we get to number 1, we can talk about some films and other media we've loved.
Cool. Sounds good to me. But I have read the first Dune. I read it quite a few years ago. 3 or 4 years ago now. I think before we even started the channel, perhaps. Maybe. I think so.
What, reading Dune?
Yeah.
No, that was a little bit after.
Was it?
Yeah. It's in 2021.
It was because of Mike Book Reviews that I started Dune. And I really, really enjoyed it. But I did think it could have been better. Lots of the sections. I didn't consider Dune to be my Bible. But Dune Messiah was absolutely awesome. I had to read what happens next after watching part 2 in the cinema by Denny V, because I absolutely loved that film. One of my favourite films of all time now. I've seen it a few times. But Dune Messiah took Dune in a completely new direction, and it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, the first half was building up to an almighty crescendo. That much was obvious, through these scenes that were happening. The dialogue was great, and I just loved the way that this took the story. And it completely changed so many things, so many issues that I had with the first book of Dune. So, Messiah, my favourite of the Dune stories so far. I'm definitely going to be reading number 3, which is Children of Dune. And I just can't wait to
Are they
get
the ones
to
that Mike Book Reviews said are still...
Yes,
Very good.
I think Mike said read the first 4 or 5. We'll just read the Atreides story.
Okay.
And then, because one of the books, maybe it's book 4, which is God Emperor, or maybe book 5, which then goes like 3,000 years in the future. And, these characters are completely gone. So follow these, see what happens. There are twists and turns here. Frank Herbert is a great writer. Love the dialogue, love the world building, and the ending was incredible.
Very nice.
That is my 4th.
And it's a lot thinner than Dune, isn't it?
It is, and you can get it through it very, very quickly. I read it in a few days, so it's
quite easy to binge.
Under 300 pages.
Very nice.
We like good books like that.
We do like good books like that. Number 4, I have another text. I had my English uni reading this, and this is The Battle of Morden, and this was the Tolkien translation. And so it's not a reread. I've read The Battle of Morden before, but from a different translation. Very different than the Tolkien translation. This is just great. The Battle of Morden, a real historical battle about kind of the Saxons versus the Viking raiders and kind of them making their imprint on England. And this is the Tolkien translation. It's Tolkien, it's the Battle of Morden. I'm going to pick it up, and I absolutely loved it. It was just gripping, and I really love kind of the themes of kind of loyalty, duty, betrayal, and it just really winds up to be a very short but engaging in story that was... I was very invested in.
Nice.
Surprisingly invested in, even though I knew the outcome. And it's got that kind of tinge of tragedy throughout it, which is very compelling. And I really enjoyed the Battle of Morden, and I highly recommend it. You should definitely read it as well, Ed. There we go. That's my 4th favourite read of 2024 so far.
Very nice. Number 3. Number 3. This book is a book I've been wanting to read for a long, long time now, and it is The Return to Adan by Philip Chase. I absolutely loved it. I think this book is my favourite of the Adan trilogy. It had
high praise.
It really is high praise. It is an incredible read. I think this series is the closest to me in terms of heart and feeling that Papa Gwyn captured in The Faith and the Fallen. Janny Wirtz said this is a truth and courage story, which I definitely agree with. I loved Return to Adan. It is one of my favourite books. It was so much fun to read. We have been through with these characters through a lot that has happened in the first 2 books, and I love their arcs, especially if you consider where they started in book 1. And we have so many things I just did not expect at all. I did not find it predictable. I love the way that Philip writes dialogue and action. I love the way that he incorporates world building through stories and songs, as well as this, this beautiful description of the world, mixing with the horrific deeds of the inhabitants of the world. It captures what Tolkien and Gemmell do best, which is writing heroes being heroic in a real world, as well as capturing this beautiful sense of place and time. And Return to Adan is my favourite of the trilogy, and I can't wait to see what Philip Chase does next, because we definitely need more stories in this world, more stories from this author. Yeah, I loved it.
I'm currently reading it, and I'm loving it at the moment, about 200 pages in, and what I really appreciate is how bold Philip has been with new POVs and characters you've not met before, which in the 3rd and final book of a trilogy is very bold, and a lot of authors will shy away from doing that. And the ones I've seen do it before haven't done it very well.
Yeah.
But he has done it so well. Well, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this is an interesting direction.
At first, you're like, I want
more of the characters I know,
the other
but
one
within, I won't name them because it'd be spoilers, but within a chapter of being there, I was utterly invested, and it's one of my favourite storylines.
You get to the end, you're like, no, I want to carry on reading with this person. So
And
that's
so
what,
it's-
I'm
only
authors do
200
that
pages.
well.
Yeah, exactly. I'm only 200 pages in, and those bold decisions are already
Got a long way
paying
to go.
off in plentiful amounts.
Nice. Over to you.
Is that number 3?
Number
So
3
I'm
for
actually
you.
going to overtake you and talk about 3 and 2 at the same time.
Damn.
You will see why. So it is the same author. And number 3, I have The Temple of Fortuna, the final book in the Wolfden trilogy. And number 2, I have The House of the Golden Door. Possibly, other than Papa Gwyn's works, the greatest middle book of a series I've ever read, because this is book 2
I agree.
of the trilogy. That's
my favourite of the trilogy.
Eddie Harper has just, with each book in the series, because I think Temple of Fortuna is probably tied with The Wolf Den with me. I think book 1 and book 3 are probably tied. So all 3 are huge 5-star home runs for me. Knocked me for 6. Scored a goal.
Hat trick.
Hat trick as well. And yeah, it's just brilliant. Eddie Harper, I love her prose style. It reminds me a lot of Pat Barker's in The Silence of the Girls.
Yeah.
With how you're following characters who have gone through a lot of trauma, and they've got a lot to come as well. They are under heavy stress, and it is a battle for survival, and they have to be ruthless in that position. And you really see how it affects their conscience and that question of morality versus survival as well. And I love how it is done brilliantly, where that is just infused into that character. We don't have to have a narrative conversation about it. You just pick it up as the reader, that Elodie Harper trusts you she trusts your intelligence as the reader to understand that, the growth that this character is going through. And Amara, one of the greatest central characters of a series I've ever had the pleasure of following. And I'm so sad this is over. It's utterly exceptional, but I cannot wait to see what Elodie Harper does next with Boudica's Daughter as her next project, which, as you can tell from the title, is following
What was it?
Boudica's Daughter.
What's she doing after that?
Anthony's
Anthony and
wife.
Cleopatra.
No, Anthony's wife.
Mark Anthony's wife.
Mark Anthony's wife, yeah.
Damn.
So it might end with Cleopatra, but
Yeah.
most of it, I think, because she's meant to be very
More
active
historical
politically.
books written by Elodie Harper is what the world needs.
It really is, and it's bittersweet when you finish a series you love, and so it's sad.
There are some right gits in this series, like real sods.
They are, and you
Nasty.
hate them so, but you understand them as well.
Yeah.
It's really just incredible.
Why did you
And
do
also,
that, Elodie?
one of the top 10 audiobooks I've ever listened to
Yeah,
as well.
she's
The narration,
fantastic. Yeah.
so good. She can be so cutting, can't
we
she?
love this series so much, Mercedes and I, that we actually called a duck Amara. Admittedly, the duck is not alive; she's stuffed. But but Amara.
That was a twist you were not
Yeah.
expecting.
We have 4 ducks. One is not alive. The other 3 are. So we have Achilles, Augustus, and Anubis, and then we have Amara, who sits in the house with us and watches them. Yeah.
Anyway,
number
what's
2
your
for me
second favourite?
is in the first part of this video, we were talking. Well, I was talking about N. Scott Mummerday, who kickstarted the Native American Renaissance. One of the authors who is a Native American who was inspired by him is Louise Erdrich, and The Roundhouse was it my first read of the year? I think it was my first or my second, and oh my gosh, is it good? It is it's just incredible. I've spoken about it a couple of times on the channel now, but Louise Erdrich has such an amazing writing voice. This book is one of the most emotional reads I've ever had. It follows the story of a teenage boy who him and his father discover that his mother has been raped, and this boy kind of has this obsession to try and find out who it was by. And the way the story unfolds is so heartbreaking, but so incredible. I mean, there are some sections that are very Stephen King-esque, where we follow the boy and his friends, and his friendships with them was so heartfelt and so sincere, and the loyalty between them was just absolutely fascinating and engaging. Her writing voice was incredible. It's going to be hard to find a book that can match this for the emotion and the heartache that you feel for these characters. And it paints so many different types of trauma, just so respectfully, but also so powerfully. There are, Louise Erdrich, she has fantastic ideas. She always has a really good grasp of character and motivation, and she delivers it in such a riveting way. So yeah, The Roundhouse, one of my favourite books I've ever read.
Very nice, Ed. And another one that I'm going to say I need to add to the list.
Absolutely.
And so let's quickly talk about favourite film or
films
something.
and
I'm just going
TV.
to check my list to make sure I've not forgotten anything.
Go for
You
it.
quickly talk about what is obviously your favourite.
My favourite film by far of the year so far has to be Dune Part 2. I really didn't like Part 1 at all. I think I gave it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. It just felt like it took all the great scenes from Dune, from the first half of Dune, the book, and just rushed them. Do you agree, Will?
I did not enjoy.
Yeah, I did enjoy Part 1. But Part 2, oh my goodness, it was...
Different
It
director.
felt like a different director.
My main
and-
problem with Part 1 was, kind of his visions.
Yeah.
They were just seeing a character, basically. Added nothing to the plot, really. In my opinion, obviously.
Yeah, it was just
And,
building up
and
Charlie.
and I think it was probably about 20 minutes of the film is just slow-mo visions of him seeing Zendaya,
Yeah.
which adds nothing to the plot. Whereas in Part 2, everything was focused towards building the tension and working
Part 2
towards...
is a perfect film. And
It is
when I saw
incredible.
people saying it's like The Two Towers, I thought, well, that's going to be a load of shit, isn't it? Because nothing's going to be close to The Two Towers apart from Return of the King and Fellowship of the Ring. But I've got to say, the masses were right. It is close to The Two Towers.
Whoa.
To me, it's way better than any Star Wars film. It's up there with my favourite films of the last
You are
years.
dropping bombs left,
I know.
right,
I'm an
centre.
Atreides. You know what I'm going to say?
Wow.
I'm dropping the atomics.
Crikey.
It is just one of my favourite films, and I watched quite a few new films actually, and I really enjoyed Princess Mononoke, which is I think a Miyazaki film, which it was absolutely fantastic. You can see obviously where James Cameron got his inspiration for Avatar. The first one, which is okay. But yeah, Princess Mononoke, absolutely fantastic, and it made me want wolves. Mercedes watched a little bit with me, and then she was having nightmares about 2 giant wolves.
Oh no!
To me, that wouldn't be a nightmare unless they're eating me. But still,
I
they're
think
wolves.
if you actually felt you were there,
yeah, and
it's
children.
like saying the grey
Yeah,
with Liam Neeson.
Okay.
It's not cute being there.
Princess Mononoke, they're nice wolves because she
Okay.
rides them.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's right then.
Children of Men was a great film as well. I watched Arrival on a Denny V kick. So yeah, some really, really good films this month. Some
This
terrible
year?
ones as well. I watched Napoleon by Ridley Scott. I hope that guy never makes a film ever again.
Well, okay.
I know he's done.
he has done amazing films in the past.
Yeah, well, that's like 40 years ago. He's
Gladiator, only 25 years.
25 years. He's rubbish.
Did you enjoy Robin Hood with Russell Crowe?
I liked it. I wouldn't say I loved it.
But you'd like if that
It's
came out
fun.
now, you'd be happy with that. Come on, Ridley Scott did that.
Yeah, but I've got high expectations now. Dune Part 2, that's what cinema should be.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favourite film?
So Dune Part 2 probably takes it.
Probably.
I think so. I think it does. I did adore The Creator, which
I haven't seen that yet.
and Dune Part 2, it is absolutely incredible. I'm not taking that away. It will be in my top 20
You say
films.
but.
No, it will be in my top 20 films of all time.
Yeah.
The one thing it lacks is there was no moment where I nearly cried or anything
Oh,
like that.
I felt emotional.
I felt moved, but
Maybe
as
it's
in,
Hans Zimmer.
when I watched The Creator, I cried.
What?
It is so...
Is it by the Rogue One director?
I think that's it, yeah.
Rogue One's a great film.
Rogue One is brilliant, and The Creator was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Honestly, please watch it. It's gone very under the radar. I don't know why. Sci-fi.
It's got a bad name.
Really?
Yeah, I've had a lot of
Why?
stick. Well, you go on Twitter and everyone hated it, but that's fine.
Twitter's a bad place.
No, that's why
sometimes.
sometimes you shouldn't go there.
Yeah. What, Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well, X.
X. Anyway, and I also, for series, I've watched Kin, which is crime set in Ireland. It's like the Irish mafia, and it's got Charlie Cox who plays Daredevil. And season 2 especially has one of the top 5 TV bad guys
Really?
ever. Film,
Who's the bad guy?
TV. He's basically been in nothing before. But he is utterly incredible. His presence on screen is amazing. But yeah, I highly recommend it. Even if you don't really watch crime, I think this is one of the exceptions where you'll still really enjoy it.
I do like,
And I also really
I always
enjoyed-
think I don't like crime TV shows, but then when someone puts one on and forces me to watch it, I'm always like, yeah, I like this.
Mm-hmm. Criminal Record is another one I'd recommend. That was great. And also, for the last film I'll mention is The Killer, which I watched this year with Michael Fassbender.
You remind me of him.
You're
No,
sick.
it's such a good.
You
film.
are nasty.
That
That's
sequence in Florida,
Oh my word!
insane.
Yeah.
But I think Michael Fassbender, one of my favourite actors.
No. You don't get to just move on from
Sorry.
saying you remind me of him. Oh, but that sequence in Florida is amazing. If you watched it, you know that's not a very nice thing to say.
My favourite TV show so far the year is Shogun, 100%.
I need to read. So I'm going to read. When does the program finish?
In a few weeks. Episode 7 came
will it
out
be in-
yesterday.
And how many are there going to be?
10.
Oh gosh, I really need to read Shogun, and then because I'm not watching it until I've read it,
Oh, you've got to watch it, Will.
and then I'll read it. You mean?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, well,
It's
I
incredible.
need to read it first.
It
and
is.
then-
It is one of the best series I've ever seen. I think the last 2 episodes for me haven't quite hit the heights of the first few, but the episodes
But
1 to
still.
5 are just some of the best TV.
Would you
Master
say
of the Air was good as well.
would you say reading Shogun would compromise my? No, sorry, watching it first would compromise part of my enjoyment of reading.
yeah, read
so
it.
definitely read it first.
Definitely read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, now onto our first book, and I think you've made an error of your first book. I think that's because my first book is drumroll, Fury of the Gods by.
Oh, do you know? I didn't even
Gwyn.
count it. I didn't even count it.
This is what I mean.
Oh no!
So wait.
Oh shit!
Oh dear.
Shit.
Oh dear. Oh,
Okay,
dear.
in my mind,
There's
we
always
never count
one. Wait,
Papa
wait.
Gwyn.
There's
We have one.
No,
it says on the
we've
list
never.
number 1
No,
and then Fury.
I've
of the Gods.
highlighted the ones I don't have physically.
Why have you done this? Why didn't you tell me
So,
beforehand? Now I look like
so
I'm a
wait,
really
wait.
bad son.
There's always someone who makes a mistake, and it's always
Today
Ed.
it's me.
No, in the videos, you often you count ones you've reread when we
William,
say we're
let's
not
not
rereading
dredge
at
up
the
the
beginning.
past, please.
But
Okay.
yeah, my favourite book of the year so far, obviously not Ed's, but mine is Fury of the Gods by Papa Gwyn. And so yeah, I'm sorry, we're showing off. We have read Fury of the Gods. And maybe this is your 1.5, you know? And this is everything. I know we could be considered as biased, but I'm being honest. This is everything you could want in a finale to a fantasy series. It is Norse, and a bit more Norse, and some sprinkling of Norse on top as well. You've got an epic finale. You've got the character moments. I think this is Papa Gwyn's best book for the slower moments as well, where often you're carried away in this incredible kind of crazy action sequences, which you do have that, but you also have those lulls, those character moments that really bring emotion and made me so upset at times. But yeah, we've done a video talking about everything that's known about Fury of the Gods so far.
Yeah.
Obviously won't be talking about spoilers, but yeah, Papa Gwyn's not afraid
But
to pull back
What
the
happens
punches.
on page 419?
That is crazy. That moment was
and then
mental.
page 512.
Oh, you don't have it in your
That
list though,
was
so
insane. Okay,
Can't talk about it.
my 1.5 favourite book is The Will of the Many.
You've done this on purpose, so you can talk about 11,
not
haven't you?
include it because this book was absolutely incredible. I couldn't stop reading it. It was a page turner. I mean, it's just one more chapter, and that's exactly how I feel whenever I read Papa Gwyn's writing. And now, The Will of the Many is the best book of the year so far for me, not counting Fury of the Gods.
All right.
Okay, but anyway, I don't want to detract from The Will of the Many because this book deserves all of the accolades that it's getting at the moment. It is incredible. The cast were fantastic. I love the way that there is tension and the climaxes. You have mini climaxes, and then it unfolds, and then it builds up again, and then you don't realise you're holding your breath, just like these characters. Yeah.
So you may forget about one or two here and there, but other than Papa Gwyn's books, is this the best release of the 2020s so far? Obviously, there may be one that you've forgotten here or there.
I think this and Philip's books are the best of the 2020s for me so far. Yeah.
Nice.
I think as a book one, this is just absolutely incredible.
Just having a peruse
I'm
over
trying
other
to think,
books.
yeah.
Have you finished Mike Sheckle's series?
No.
Oh my gosh,
really
Ed, you loved We Are the Dead so much.
I love book 2.
And A Fool's Hope. How have you not read?
Because I'm a little idiot and I can't count. Okay? I'm sorry,
What
Mike.
else is released in the...
Anyway, I love The Will of the Many. I mean, everyone and their dog are talking about it on BookTube and TikTok at the moment. So just go look at their reviews if you want something in depth. But for me, this hit all of the marks. This made me
Poor Mark, he gets hit a lot.
That's one of my jokes.
Every mark around the globe.
Before I read this and Philip's books, because these were at the beginning of the year, I was thinking I haven't read an amazing fantasy book, like a fantasy book that just knocks me off of my feet for a long time. And I think looking at my top 10 list, it's nearly all historical fiction. And so it's good to have the best of fantasy back hitting hard, and it's amazing. My favourite book of the year is Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne. Don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Haven't you already talked about 10 minutes already?
Anyway, my channel.
Anyway, so thank you everyone so much for watching.
Fury of the Gods, like William said, is just incredible. Go check out our video about Fury of the Gods, everything that we know so far. But you guys are in for a treat, and we're really, really, really glad that to see all of the excitement on Twitter and TikTok and Goodreads and Instagram and all the amazing messages saying how buzzing people are for Dad's book. And if any of you want it early, then just PayPal me 40 quid and I'll send it to you as a PDF. I sold a few for 20 quid, but I had so many requests that just £40 now. If it's dollars, then leave a tip if that's all right. $2 is fine, but so let me know.
Anyway, apart from that corruption and I think illegal activity as well, everyone, thank you so much for watching. It has been a great year so far. I think I've not read as much as I usually do, filled with stupid... Why at uni do they give you so much work? It's almost like it's meant to be full-time.
You used to be the Listen Al Gaib, and now you're... the Baron.
The Baron. Mayarakis. Anyway, Ed's been practicing that a lot.
But Iris actually sounds like the Baron. And she throat sings.
That's
like
a bit
the
scary. That is a bit
freaky,
scary.
Yeah.
But everyone, thank you so much for watching. These are our favourite reads of 2024 so far. Please let us know your reads. I was like the advert in World War One then. We need you. Yeah. Please let us know your favourites of the year so far in the comments below. And there's been some new favourites of all time added to my list. Yours as well, with The Will of the Many. Obviously not Fury of the Gods, as Ed's a traitor to the Gwynns. But everyone, thank you so much for watching. Truth and Courage, the Brothers Gwynn.
Truth and Courage, the Brothers Gwynn.